Good morning is another fresh edition of your breakfast show, Leadership Television Inside Nigeria. Today is Thursday, January 16, 2024. And of course, my name is Winifred Ugbebo, your host on the program. On today's show, we'll look at what the national papers are saying. Yesterday, incidentally, was Armed Forces Remembrance Day. And most of the papers today are talking about the aftermath of the celebration yesterday. We'll start off with Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership. Leadership's leading story today says TINUBU to armed forces, your sacrifices won't be in vain. Fatima Akpabio Abbas orders lay risk. Governor starts military on national security. COAS reaffirms commitment to troop welfare. That is Chief of Army Staff. We'll take that leading story today on leadership and other papers as well. That is the leading story. Tinubu to armed forces, your sacrifices won't be in vain. Fatima Akpabio Abbas orders slavery. Governor starts military on national security. COAS reaffirms commitment to troop with welfare. That is Chief of Army Staff. COAS reaffirms commitment to troop welfare. And we also have the picture of that laying wreath ceremony yesterday beneath that cover story. USSD code. NCC approves 9 banks disconnection. Biden orders hail Israeli-Hamas ceasefire deal. 7 farmers killed in Niger crash. Inflation rises to 34.80% ahead of rebasing. And towards the mindset of leadership, 67 CSOs seek end to Amnesty International's harassment. You recall that the Nigerian police force has taken or threatened to take the Amnesty International to court over harassment. And today's story says 67 CSOs seek end to Amnesty International's harassment. On the business boss of leadership, court orders seizure of General Hydrocarbons Limited crude cargo over alleged First Bank debt. Court orders seizure of GHL's, that is General Hydrocarbons Limited crude cargo over alleged First Bank debt on the business boss today. And above the masthead of leadership, still on leadership awards, Governor Eno of Akwa Ibom State says why I most cherish leadership award. It's above the masthead of leadership, and you have to find out why he cherishes leadership award when you log on to the paper. However, let's move briefly to the page 3 where we have our Abuja school explosion. Today's stand on leadership. The prevailing peace in Abuja, the nation's capital, was recently shattered by a bomb at Sangaya Dia Sani Odma Islamia School in Kuchibuyi Village, Buhari Area Council. Until territory had experienced tremendous peace as the new administration and security agencies took the battle to the doorsteps of criminals who had hitherto operated freely. The Nyesom-Wike-led administration has massively supported the security agencies, especially the police, with logistics and vital communications equipment that had given them the upper hand over criminal elements who had laid siege to the nation's capital. These are paragraphs underneath today's stand, the Abuja school explosion. From our stand, we move to the back page where we have Being Blunt with Moazu Elize. Moazu Elize is the group managing director of Leadership Media Group. Today's column is on the Nigerian child deserves better. Their future depends on our actions today. The Nigerian child deserves better. Today's bluntness with Moazu Elize. And we go towards the the Ghana must go towards the end of the paper. Ghana must go today to say PDP nominates Autumn as Board of Trustee member. That is the news. And Ghana must go replied. For more on leadership newspaper, don't forget to log on to the website www.leadership.ng. From leadership, we move over to the next paper we have on our lineup, and that is the Punch. Punch also has a similar story on yesterday's celebration of Armed Forces Remembrance Day. It says retired generals orders worry over fresh terror attacks in Northeast. Military bans drones in Northeast as over 50 civilians, military personnel reported killed in less than 1 week. The departed rest in peace. Meanwhile, TINUBU governor salute fallen heroes, pledge support for widows. Nigerians spent 3.7 billion naira on medical tourism in 9 months, according to report. Nigerians spent 3.7 billion naira on medical tourism in 9 months, coming from reports. Dogs kill Nigerian woman in Italy. The story is on page 5 of the Punch. Dogs kill Nigerian woman in Italy. 125 billion naira fake foreign currencies recovered in Kano, Nasarawa. Of course, we saw trending videos of that over the weekend last week. 125 billion naira fake foreign currencies recovered in Kano, Nasarawa. Beside the masthead of the Punch, 34.8% inflation rate triggers fears of rising prices, hardship. Revs Deputy Chief Whip Onanuga dies at 59. The story runs on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. These are headline stories today on the Punch newspaper. Don't forget to log on to the website for more of these stories and inside stories. www.punchng.com. From the Punch, we move over to the next paper on our menu, and that is Vanguard. Vanguard says why Boko Haram bandits thrive. Ex-generals, commanders allege NGOs, others aiding terrorists. Why Boko Haram bandits, commanders allege NGOs, others aiding terrorists. The riders, why war against Boko Haram banditry others is unending. Retired generals say NGOs, international agencies covertly aiding supply of arms to terrorists in forest. Explain why foreign countries refuse to sell arms to Nigeria. Note, locals covertly providing membership for terrorist groups. Lament efforts to persecute terrorist sponsors sabotaged by vested interests. Suggest ways out of security challenge. These are kickers to the leading story. Is Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebrated yesterday. Why Boko Haram bandits thrive. Ex-generals, commanders allege NGOs, that is non-governmental organizations, others aiding terrorists. And on Armed Forces Remembrance Day parade, Chetima, Akume, Akpabio, Abbas, others lay wreaths. Governors make donations, promises. Sports, Super Eagles beat draw Senegal, Congo, Sudan. As CAF boss says Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda will be excellent hosts. From sports, we move to the stories above the masthead of Vanguard. Inflation rises to 34.8%. Nigeria meets up 66.3% to 1,507 million barrels per day. Nigeria meets OPEC quota as output rises 6.3% to 1,507 million barrels per day. APC, PDP trade blames over Edo election tribunal shooting. Emir Sanusi says, I won't advise federal government on economic hardship. Israel, Hamas reach Gaza ceasefire, hostage release day. The story is on page 26 of Vanguard, and of course, incidentally, that story also makes papers on our menu today, and even the ones before it. From Vanguard, we move to the next paper on our menu, and that is The Guardian. The Guardian says Armed Forces Remembrance Day. War veterans, wives of fallen heroes, lament neglect despite promises. Armed Forces Remembrance Day. War veterans, wives of fallen heroes, lament neglect despite promises. We have the picture of the celebration yesterday with Vice President Kashim Shettima. We have governors, senators, ministers, members of the armed forces and other government. A nationwide commemoration of the 2025 Forces Remembrance Day yesterday in Abuja. Victims of Bodija explosion lament unfulfilled promises 1 year after. Lower inflation hinges on fiscal monetary efforts amid high food prices. Economists, shippers express worry over customs 12 trillion naira revenue targets. Dirty December, $500 tourism tax proposal exploitative, says NIDCOM. Dirty December, $500 exploitative, says NIDCOM. Just beneath the masthead of The Guardian, Nigeria suffering from mismanagement, says Emir Sanusi. The story is on page 3 of The Guardian. It's also in some of the papers we have on our lineup today. NLC say why we resist tax reform bills. You'll find out why when you log on to the website of The Guardian. And the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, reveals surge in presidential pardon request. With that, we also conclude the review of front headline stories on The Guardian this Thursday, January 16, 2025. For continuation of these headline stories, Inside Stories, the editorial, log on to the website of The Guardian, www.guardian.ng. From The Guardian, we move to the last paper we have on our menu, and that is Daily Sun. Daily Sun says Sanusi writes up TINUBU's men, says President lacks credible people, vows not to help government in economic reform efforts. Just like other papers before it, we have the pictures of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration gracing the cover of Daily Sun. NCC orders disconnection of 9 banks US federal government target